Mistress of the dark, stop following me.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Do you need medical help?
I'm afraid I've contracted some illness,
Not under my watch, nurse.
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
The patients are not fools. They know we are overwhelmed by this horrifying pain.
We were supposed to be safe. Oh, what a fucking joke.
Good evening. Goodbye, Mr. Thack. Hello.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Do you need medical attention, sir?
Afraid so. In the war, I was always worried about picking up something, getting some infection. Unfortunately, got that fear in London now.
Throughout history, some diseases have done more damage to armies than any weapon created by man. You were wise to be careful.
You're working at the Pembroke Hospital, aren't you? That's a good enough reason for me and Oswald to go there.
Goodbye, Mr. Blunt.
Leech spotted! Watch out! turn around. There's one of them vermin! Over there! There's one of them vermin! Take your breath away! Grenade!
This is Braille. I need someone who can read this.
You won't get me here! Get out! What are you now, huh? Come on! Show me Get the fuck out, you crazy bastard! You bastard! What are you people, huh?
Are you all right, sir? What are you doing in a place like this?
I'm not sure that's any of your business.
I hope you realize that staying here will put your life at great risk.
Pah! I'm not afraid of these guards of Priwen, or whatever these thugs call themselves. I can still kick some respect into those youngsters.
I wasn't specifically referring to them, but are you really after these men? Why?
They took my boy! I've had no news since he joined that crazy gang. So I decided to come and find him myself, to get some answers.
I see. But as I said, your life is at risk if you stay here. And I'm not referring to the gangs either. You should leave, sir.
Well, this part of town used to be nicer, let's say. Perhaps you're right. This isn't the best way to save Andrew.
There is a name engraved under the blood on the back of the case. Jack Gillingham. Maybe I should return this watch to his family. It's locked. From Seymour to my beloved mother, Stella. What is this doing here? Who are these people? Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Why must it always be a good evening?
I was just being polite. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you some questions, if I may.
Don't like questions. Or doctors. And the name is Seymour Fishburne, if you must know.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
A shithole filled with maggots. Liars and thieves, all of them.
Are you thinking about someone in particular?
Nope. Hate them all. Especially these petty, whining little shitbag beggars.
Is there no one who deserves your leniency, then?
Well, Tom from our local is somewhat of a decent bloke. At least, unlike most maggots, he knows how to listen without opening his trap.
What's your occupation?
I take care of my mum. It's what I do. She's the only good thing in my life. Even though I don't treat her so good.
You seem upset. Is something bothering you?
I lost the necklace I bought her. I'm a fucking idiot. A worthless idiot.
Sometimes it's hard to be a good son.
I just want her to smile. No, I was thankful for her patience, appreciated like... God knows she deserves it.
Do you require medical assistance?
That's something I didn't expect to hear again. A doctor concerned with the health of his patients. Yeah. I could use some help. On several matters, in fact.
I don't know which kind of doctor you're used to dealing with, but it's a doctor's purpose to heal people.
And is it your purpose as well, Mr. Reed? I would say it's a convenient way for gaining people's trust.
What's your...
I take care of him.
Any chance you can help me find Sean Hampton?
The sad saint. Why would you talk to that cunt?
Actually, that's confidential.
Really? Well, go ask someone else then. I'm sure Tom Watts will gladly answer you.
I have retrieved the gift for your mother, sir.
Great. Give it here then and take this for your trouble.
I also found the corpses. The ones under which you left the necklace, Mr. Fishburne.
Ah, so that's where I left it. I can be a bit stupid sometimes.
As a man of science, I'd like to try to understand why you killed those people.
Why does there need to be a reason? They were just there. It happened. That's all.
You're not a mindless animal, Seymour. Surely you have something to say about these murders. Speak up and I will listen without judgment.
Could be right, Dr. Reed. Maybe it'll do some good to confide in a gentleman like you. You being educated and all.
Tell me about your victims, Seymour. Who were they? Why them? Was there a link?
Why should there be? They just kept getting on my nerves at the worst times, that's all.
How many? How many victims?
It's not like I keep records. It happens when it happens.
You feel nothing, do you? No empathy for your victims at all?
You seem pretty calm yourself, don't you?
We're not talking about me.
All right. Well, our calm's the only thing we have in common then.
Did you take pleasure in killing them, Seymour? All those people, all those lives extinguished.
I take no pleasure from it. Just gives me peace. Stills the anger. For a time.
This rage you feel, have you ever been able to control it? Resist it?
I I tried. For my mum, I tried for her. Telling the truth made me feel better. For a while.
Don't you think you should seek help? Talk to someone you trust, someone who cares about you.
No. And don't dare speak about me to your colleagues either. Keep your mouth shut tight. Especially about my mum.
Why is your mother protecting you, Seymour?
I'm her son. She's the only one who knows me. Sometimes I think she knows me better than I know myself.
I understand you love her, but can't you see the awful situation you've put her in?
Do you think my mum would have a better life if I were dead? She seems so sad to know me sometimes.
I don't believe death is the appropriate sentence for murder. Not in a civilized society. But the last word has to remain with the law.
There is no law around here. No justice to be found. In these parts, revenge is the only answer.
Goodbye, Mr. Fishburne. Hello, boy.
Hello. Good evening.
Did I scare you? You have nothing to fear from me.
No, it's just that people prefer to avoid me.
Well, I won't. I'm a doctor.
My name is Rufus, sir. Rufus Kingsbury.
Do you know a man who lives in this part of town? A man named Sean Hampton. I'm looking for him.
Sorry, sir. I don't know a lot of folks around here. Most prefer to avoid me.
Well, I don't think you should talk to him. He may be very sick.
Thanks for the tip. You might want to check the Turquoise Turtle. It's a pub not far from here. The barkeep knows everyone in these parts.
Do you need help?
A real doctor caring about me. That's a first. I feel like a real person.
A real doctor treats everyone the same, Rufus.
I don't know what to say. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
What can you tell me about this region?
It's all about staying out of trouble. But since most people prefer to avoid me, it's pretty easy.
Why do people avoid you?
They call me Rufus the Curse. Around here, I'm a bit of a bad luck charm.
Have you ever thought about leaving?
Where else would I go? At least I know these streets and some people around here. This is my city, for better or worse.
What do you do around here, Rufus?
I listen to the news on the docks, sir. And I smile at those kind enough to spare me a bob.
Do you have a job?
It's hard to work, what with my head and all. Since I was a boy, I've always had trouble remembering what I do and why I do it.
What do people say about this place?
Things have been tense between the wet boot boys and the communists. They both feel they should run the docks.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care.
Some call this the bad part of town. I've lived in worse.
Seems like the guard of Prewen is on Sean Hampton's trail, too.
Want some of this? Crush the meat, boys! Die! You're ready!
The wounds on this corpse are deep, the result of rabid rage. If this is Sean's doing, he's become a murderous beast. It's locked. It's locked, all right. I cannot enter. Good evening, madam. I'm Dr. Reed. Could I come in?
Why? What do you want?
I work at the Pembroke Hospital. I'm investigating the flu epidemic in this area.
Oh, the Spanish flu. Well, that's quite liberal of you, Doctor. But this is no time to be knocking at people's doors.
The disease takes away the good people too, madam. Why not let me in?
It's Mrs. Fishburne. Stella Fishburne. And yes, indeed. Why not let a doctor in? I'm not sure the epidemic is what worries people most these days. So you have questions about the flu, then?
Yes, among other things.
Forgive my rudeness at the door. It's just my son doesn't like strangers coming in the house.
How is life around here?
Life has always been hard in the East End. But it's everywhere nowadays, isn't it?
Do you think the increase in violence has anything to do with the epidemic?
Don't know. But it's most likely linked to the gangs, if you ask me. Recently, it's like everyone has had to pick a side.
Violence has always fed on poverty, don't you think? It's a cruel law of the human condition.
And selfishness is their rotten fruit. These days, you can just die in the gutter and no one will bat an eye.
May I ask what you do for a living, Mrs. Fishburne?
Since my husband died, I worked at the Dawson Rope factory, but it closed before the war. I occasionally help at the night asylum, in exchange for food.
Did your husband die in the war?
Oh no, my Jack was a docker. He died when my Seymour was just a lad. The poor boy saw his dad slip and fall from that scaffolding.
How do you pay the rent, then?
My Seymour works at the docks, just like his dad. He's very attached to the house he grew up in. It's not always easy, but we get by all right.
Your son's gone way beyond simply bullying people. He has a taste for blood, and you know it, don't you, Stella?
One night, he told me straight up, in his own words. It was several days after one of his episodes.
Why did he confess? Did you suspect something?
No. I guess he wanted his old mum to help him fight his, demons.
Did Seymour tell you everything that night?
More than I could stand. The words he used to describe his hate, his rage, how he feels when he's done it.
Stella, I know you are ashamed of your son's crimes. So why do you protect Seymour?
I can't report my own son, can I? Not a burden I could bear.
Burden? How do you mean?
They'd hang him for sure. I won't send my only son to his death.
I understand your pain, but you cannot mother him forever.
If someone ever found the courage to speak to the police, I will take my share.
Tell me about these demons Seymour needs your help to fight.
Seymour used to be such a happy child, and he is still a helping son most of the time. But when he gets angry, he can hardly contain his rage.
All men and women are born innocent, Mrs. Fishburne. But there can be a monster within any of us.
Do you think he can be cured, Doctor? Do you think something can extinguish this rage inside my Seymour?
I'm afraid these demons, as he calls them, are just a delusional justification to distance himself from his actions.
There ain't no hope then. Somehow, somewhere, my son has turned into a monster, and nothing will bring him back.
I'm trying to locate Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where he could be?
You talking about the one everyone calls the sad saint? The man who takes care of the homeless?
The very same, Miss Fishburne.
I'm sorry. I don't know where his shelter is. But if you ask around, I'm sure you'll get your answer.
Goodbye, Miss Fishburne. It's locked, all right.
Please don't stay too long, sir. I can't remember the last time I had a good sleep. I've been nothing but worried.
Mark my words, miss. These murders are the work of a vampire.
A vampire? Whatever do you mean?
I'm a tracker of these creatures. A vampire hunter.
You best be off to your hunting then. For if the sewer dog is back, and hunting all these poor folk, he needs a catching.
A sewer dog? What's it look like?
It's an old story. A monster with daggers for teeth and icy claws. He comes of a sudden, nighttime, claiming innocence, then vanishes.
Teeth? Claws? Murders by night? Your sewer dog is my business. He's the kind of prey I hunt, milady.
Evening, miss.
Well, I never. That's a first. Customers who make that much mess rarely come back. Never mind in fancy togs.
I'm much more myself than when we first met. By the way, I'm Jonathan, Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Welcome back to the Turquoise Turtle then, Doctor. I'm Sabrina Cavendish. How can I help you?
Miss Cavendish, would you be willing to help me locate Sean Hampton?
You better ask Tom, sir.
Why not answer me directly?
We respect the privacy of our customers here, sir. Only Tom can decide who to speak to and what he'll say to them.
What can you tell me about this area?
People don't appreciate that line of questioning round here. You best be more careful with what you say, sir.
You look concerned, Miss Cavendish.
This is a bad borough. Most people I know are afraid. Most locals will rob you blind, or worse. You best mind your step.
If you're uncertain about your safety here, the docks might not be the right place for you.
I've got responsibilities. And it's not like I've got the money to move anywhere else anyway.
This place seems, how shall I put it, very colourful. I'm sure it has plenty of stories to tell.
We get people of all sorts here. It's that rare place in the docks where you can have a drink without being murdered. At least it's not happened yet.
Your boss must be quite the negotiator to force such an agreement.
Yeah. Tom's a great bloke. Mr. Hampton, who runs the night asylum, he's the only other man that's able to keep peace around here.
So this bar is neutral territory then?
Yeah. Tom's convinced this is something the locals need. No one ever draws a weapon here. That's one of the reasons I accepted the job.
Goodbye, Miss Cavendish. Not a drop of blood left in his body. This is the work of a vampire.
Good evening, sir. Have you witnessed any suspicious activity or strange events recently?
And what do you define as a strange event? More to the point, who are you?
My name is Ichabod Throgmorton, vampire hunter extraordinaire and warden of the East End.
A vampire hunter? Really?
I know what you're thinking. I'm just another lunatic howling at the moon, but I'm not. The bloodsuckers exist, and they're close.
Mr. Throgmorton, I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'd like to hear more about these vampires you're hunting.
A man of science? Well, I'll be glad to enlighten you.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me, Mr. Throgmorton?
The sad saint? He should be at his night asylum at this hour. But I cannot tell you how to find it, sorry.
Really? Why is that?
It's nothing personal, Doctor. I'm sure your intentions are good, but people who sleep there, they have plenty of reasons to hide.
Maybe at least you can tell me who could help me find him.
Tell you what, go and chat with Tom Watts. He's a bartender and good judge of character. If he talks to you, then it's fine by me.
I could make you tell me, but I respect your refusal. You really believe Sean is a saint, don't you?
All I will say is this. Gossip has it that when he was a child, he was molested. By a priest of all people. Funny thing is, though, it only strengthened his faith.
What can you tell me about this neighborhood?
Did you hear about what happened to Jack Gillingham? Oh boy. It's a shame I wasn't around to protect him.
It's impossible to protect everyone. The violence seems endemic in this part of town.
But it's my duty. I am convinced Jack Gillingham was killed by a vampire. These evil rodents are spreading like a plague.
So, how exactly are you protecting these people? I'm curious.
I patrol late at night, investigating anything unusual. I try and encourage people to stay indoors, but people are careless.
How do you identify a vampire?
It's simple, really. They can't stand daylight. They're afraid of garlic and holy symbols. They also cannot enter a house without being invited.
Have you ever killed one of these creatures? Yourself, I mean.
Of course I have. What kind of question is that? It's a dirty business, believe me.
Can I help in any way?
Actually, yes. I plan to put up posters to alert the population to the vampire threat.
Are you asking me to paste posters about vampires around the docks?
If you wouldn't mind. If you did that, then I can focus on my patrols.
Have you heard of the Guard of Priwen?
Of course. They're dedicated hunters. A little militant for my taste, but they do let anyone join.
So you hunt alone? That sounds risky.
Vampires are just like every other predator. They hunt when they're hungry and follow certain patterns. It's just a matter of observation and patience.
Were you ever tempted to join the Guard yourself?
I did think about it, but I'm more of a silent hunter. They're more of a sanitary militia.
Goodbye, and good hunting, Mr. Throgmorton. Good evening, sir.
Whatever.
Don't you recognize me? We met a few nights ago.
Don't take it personally. I spent a lot of energy forgetting what I did the night before.
Yes, you had definitely drunk too much then as well. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
I'm Jason Delaney. I'll try to remember you. This time.
Inebriation aside, do you need medical help?
Yes. I feel sicker than usual these days.
Take this, then. And perhaps you could try to slow down the alcohol intake, too.
Hey, Doc, you don't really want me to stop the only remedy I can afford.
I'm looking for Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where I could find him?
I really don't know. I heard he'd been abducted. I don't know if he's back.
Who could tell me then?
About the sad saint. I'll try asking Tom what's about him.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Delaney?
I drink. I drink in the morning and at noon. I drink at night. And then I drink some more.
Why do you drink so much?
Maybe it's because I prefer dying slowly. Death can be so abrupt. Personally, I like to see mine coming at my own pace.
You sound very sad, sir.
That's because I am, Doc.
Don't you work at all?
I'd love to, but I don't have the time. Didn't I tell you? Drink in the morning and at noon. I drink at night.
Is there anything in particular that you like about this part of town? Except for the cheap drinks, I mean.
How dare you say such a thing? I love this neighborhood. So friendly. So joyful.
No reason at all to rejoice, then? Life is hopeless and then we die, is that it?
Let me tell you a story.
All right. Go on.
A few years ago, when I believed a resolute man could change things around here for good, a tragedy occurred nearby.
What kind of tragedy?
It was a bomb. Bomb that exploded and killed many people. Metal and blood everywhere. Shouts, fire, broken window of the shoe shop, the torn street light.
You lost people you loved that day, didn't you?
I've lost everything. But you know what the worst part is? I don't even remember where it happened. I've drunk so much to forget it. Now I can't remember where it was. I can't pay my homage to the dead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Delaney.
It's okay. If you ever find the place, just leave a flower for me there. Even if you tell me where it is. I'm not sure I'd memorize it.
Is there anything in particular that you like about this part of town? Except for the cheap drinks, I mean.
How dare you say such a thing?
Why are you so cynical?
Cynicism is the polite way to express despair, Doctor.
Goodbye.
What with the epidemic, no one dares go outside.
Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, sir. How are you tonight? Back to the docks, are we?
You remember me then?
Of course I do. You're that man who seemed so lost when he entered my bar a few nights ago.
Thank you for your hospitality. I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way.
I'm still Tom Watts. Welcome back, Doctor.
Tom, I need to find Sean Hampton as quickly as possible. I've been told you could help me.
I heard the sad saint was recovering at Pembroke Hospital. Did he leave or something?
The important thing is I find him, quickly.
Why not try his night asylum? He takes care of those who need a meal or a roof there.
Where is it?
It's in an old warehouse, northwest of here. Just follow the bank to the west and go north when you reach the end of the pier.
I believe he returned to his flock. Can you confirm that?
Oh, I bet you're right. Sean can't help but worry about the poor and sick. Oh, I guess it has something to do with what happened to him as a baby.
Please, tell me.
Well, I don't like to gossip, but I heard that the sad saint was abandoned as a baby in front of a Catholic orphanage in Dublin. It would explain his faith and need to help everyone.
Why does your waitress feel in danger working on the docks?
This part of town is dangerous for all, but for women it's worse, as always. Sabrina is a brave girl, but she can't help feeling in danger.
Do you think she has good reason to feel this way? Are you not worried about her safety?
Of course I am. The truth is, she's tougher than me deep inside. She just has to learn to control it.
How is it you can keep this place open? This part of town doesn't seem particularly safe.
Well, since everybody needs a drink, my pub is considered neutral ground by most groups.
You're something of a figurehead around here.
I'm only pouring alcohol for everyone to forget their troubles. Sean Hampton is the one giving them long-term hope.
I see. So you get pressure from all sides about how this place should be run, do you?
Or something like that. Nothing that a few wise words and a bottle of gin can't solve.
Since I'm here, is there anything I can do?
Well, perhaps, Doctor. Peace partly depends on my stock of gin. And with the epidemic, my supplies are running low.
How could a physician help you in this matter?
I have a small warehouse just past the quarantine line. Perhaps, with you being a doctor, you could go there and come back?
Doctors aren't immune to disease, you know. Very well. Show me where it is. I'll see what I can do.
Oh, thank you, sir. Here's the key to get in. You're about to save many dry throats.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
It's not that bad. Thanks to people like the sad saint of the East End.
Who?
Sean Hampton, our own private holy figure. Few are foolish enough to make peace with the gangs. Sean is one of them.
Sabrina seems very fond of you, Tom.
I like her too. I really do. I know I'm her boss, and I'm much older and all. But I like her, for sure.
What is bothering you, then?
Sabrina is an angry one. She wears it like a coat. I'm not sure I can make her shed that anger. It hurts to see her like that.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts.
So few clients.
He didn't deserve
Epidemic,
this.
no one dares go outside.
It's locked. I cannot enter. It's locked. I cannot enter.
Stupid! Die for me!
It's locked. I cannot enter. It's locked.
This is no place for you. This was mine! Back to the shadow!
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Do you need any help?
Rest assured, I will help you, sir. Martin Nightingale, at your service. Please, take a look at my wares.
Your merchandise. I don't really see anything worth having. No offense.
None taken, sir. But please, I need to eat. Perhaps if you keep looking, you'd see something that takes your fancy.
Goodbye.
Please, sir. Come and have a gander.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. May I come in?
I already took my medication, Doctor. But thank you.
I'm sorry. Your medication? Have we met before?
Don't tease me like that, Jack. Sorry, what?
I think I should come in, miss. I'd like to check if everything is okay, what with the epidemic spreading across London.
An epidemic, you say? How terrible. I had no idea. But where are my manners? Please do come in, Doctor. You are a doctor, yes? So, Dr. Tippett, what brings you back here? I heard whispers you had a job at that fancy hospital.
I told you my name is Jonathan Reed. Don't you remember?
Of course I do. I remember my name too. Gillingham. But you may call me Enid, Doctor. I'm very happy to see you again.
Do you require medical attention, miss?
I'm glad you asked, Dr. Tippett. I must confess I haven't felt that well of late.
I'll try my best. Here, take this. And please, try to get some rest.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much.
I found this watch. It was a gift from you to your boy, wasn't it? I think it should return to you now.
Oh, I remember. Yes, I recall the day I offered Jack this watch. Oh, it was such a beautiful day. Thank you, sir.
Trinkets and possessions help us remember our past. Promise me you'll not lose it.
I would never lose anything that belonged to Jack. Why don't you take this? Dr. Tippett? Please, for your charity.
I'm looking for a Sean Hampton. Do you know where I might find him?
Sean Hampton, you say? Oh, the name does seem vague.
Is anyone taking care of you, Miss Gillingham?
My son is always here to take care of me. He's a good boy like that, but I do worry that he needs to start living his own life. I would never say that to him, of course.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Oh, no. I don't gossip. That would be most unbecoming of a lady such as myself.
Who are the more
Well, I heard about some terrible illness going around. I would say in that case that it's you, Dr. Tippett.
Enid, have you really no idea what happened to your son? No idea at all?
I've not seen Jack for so long. I lose track of time. Has something bad happened to him?
Jack takes good care of you, Miss Gillingham.
He does indeed. My Jack is the best son a mother could ask for.
Goodbye, Miss Gillingham. It's locked.
I know I've got something that'll strike your fancy. If not, I'll find you something. Please, sir.
Good evening, young man.
There's no...
Show me what you have to watch.
Are you certain you're not...
Good evening, young man.
There's no...
I'm looking for Sean Hampton.
He's a caretaker for the poor, is he not?
Something like that, yes.
Sorry, I don't know where he is.
Let me be frank. You're as much of a businessman as I am a werewolf, right?
Who the hell are you to question me? It's hard enough to stay clean when you don't have a place to sleep. I'm doing my best here.
I meant no offense, Mr. Nightingale. I was merely pointing out the fact that you're unlikely to survive long if you continue wandering this path.
And what should I do then, sir? Should I join the Wet Boot Boys like so many others? No thanks. I'd rather be a bad seller than a dead gang member.
What can you tell me about the neighborhood? Have you got any friends around these parts?
Not really. Miss Gillingham smiles and says kind words, but I know she's lost her marbles, especially since her son died.
How interesting. I don't suppose you know what happened to her son.
Jack! Rumour has it he tried to tackle some gang lads. I didn't know him well, but I heard he was a nice enough chap. His old ma still thinks he's around.
Tell me about this crazy woman. Madness is often mistaken for other conditions.
The poor woman's mad, all right. Kind and all, but she has so much trouble remembering things. She's taken me for a son more than once.
Goodbye.
Please, sir. Come and have a gander.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. May I have your attention for a minute?
Good evening, sir. My name is Giselle Paxton, but I don't have time for men like you.
Have we met before?
No, but I just need to look at your fancy clothes to know that you must be desperate to visit the docks at night.
That's quite judgmental of you.
Sir, I've led enough strikes when I had a job to identify you as an enemy of the working class.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me?
What is it you want? Does he owe you money? Has he displeased your Royal Highness? I'm no snitch, Mr. Fancy Pants.
May I ask what you do for a living?
I'm killing myself scraping for a living. And you? Have you ever had to struggle in your entire life?
As I told you, I'm a doctor. You have to work a lot to earn that title.
Oh, a doctor. Born with money in a nice house, were we? Was Daddy a banker or a doctor himself?
Why such hatred? Are you judging me by my clothes and my job?
Course I am. Fuck, you're so blind. You don't even see your privilege. Lazy people like you disgust me.
What can you tell me about this?
Tell you what, just spend a few weeks here, and then ask me that question again. If you're still alive, I mean.
If you have something to say, say it. I'm getting tired of all this.
Oh. You want information instead? Well, here's some for you. Giselle Paxton does not like you at all, Doctor.
You don't know me, Miss Paxton, and yet you see me as an enemy.
Your manners, your clothes, your words tell me everything about you, sir. I know your kind, and you don't belong here.
You're right. I have never suffered from poverty. But that doesn't mean I don't fight it and its consequences.
I really doubt you ever had to fight for anything in your life, Dr. Reed.
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton. It's locked. It's locked, all right. This must be a picture of the bomb explosion Dyson Delaney spoke of. It's locked, all right. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Can I help you?
A fancy doctor lurking at night by the docks? Not fishy at all.
And what about you? Working outside at night in this dangerous part of town?
You want to know my secret? I'm trying to earn money. And I'm Lottie Paxton, by the way.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton.
Mr. Hampton must be in his office at the night asylum he manages, I suppose. Why'd you want to see him?
He was a patient of mine at the Pembroke Hospital, but he left abruptly.
I see. Well, Mr. Hampton is a discreet and dedicated man. I'm sure you'll find him soon enough.
Is it not dangerous to work here at night?
As long as I have good legs, I can run away from trouble. The sad saint now provides me and my sister a bed and a roof. I don't want to lose that.
Are you homeless, Miss Paxton?
Mr. Hampton's night asylum is our new home now. It's a safe place for me and my sister.
What can you tell me about the sad saint?
It's just the nickname of Sean Hampton, the sad saint of the East End. He gave me shelter, and he's not always sad.
What can you tell me about this?
It may be okay for a strong girl like me, but a dandy doctor from the city like yourself, you better watch your back, Mr. Reed.
You really think I should go back to a safer place, miss?
No. I think you had better stay and help as many people as you can. Just avoid the wet boot boys. Those bastards are worse than the epidemic.
Which local danger?
Well, the gangs, the thieves, the drunks, the jobless. A man with your fancy clothes will attract a lot of attention.
Well, I am not someone so easily intimidated.
Glad to hear that. And if you get into trouble, you can always seek help at Sean Hampton's shelter. No one would dare to be violent there.
Lottie, tell me about the wet boot boys. I know they've threatened you.
Edwina Cox wanted me to provide her with information about Mr. Hampton's resources. I refused.
Is that not dangerous?
Fuck them and their lies. They claim they protect the interests of the neighborhood, but they are just greedy parasites like all the rest.
I respect your courage, Miss Paxton, and I hope life will never wear you down.
Dr. Reed, you know how to make a girl blush. I am glad you came to the docks, whatever your real reasons are.
Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
I hope Giselle pulls through.
Why the long face, Doctor?
Is it all that worries you, Sean? My long face? Really?
This is a blessing for me, to become a Skal. Immortality gives me more time and energy, if truth be known, to run a shelter. What more could I want?
Since you left Pembroke, the amount of blood that has been shed, it's hard to believe you, Sean.
Ask what you will. As the Lord is my shepherd, I will not speak a lie to you.
Aren't you afraid of what you've become?
We are blessed, Doctor. Can't you see it? The Lord has made us able to walk amongst the plague and aid those that need it.
You think this is a blessing when God's own house and holy symbols repel you?
If that is your burden, Doctor, so be it. But I do not fear the cross, nor am I forced to take the life of another. My kind doesn't share your imperfections.
But you must drink blood now to survive.
No, not your scripture. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. So saith the Lord. I only need to eat flesh, no blood.
Why return here?
This is my home. These people are my flock. You will always find me where I am needed.
Wonders never cease. Skal managing an asylum.
And what of you? A vampire doctor? Meals laid out before you. Yet you restrain.
And what about William Bishop? He tried to take care of you. But this hunger, this thirst, cannot be restrained.
Alas, poor William. He had a good soul, but was weak in spirit. He could not shake the thirst for booze, never mind blood. But have faith. My will is far stronger than his.
Why did you kill Miss Jones at the Pembroke Hospital?
Killed old Harriet? You must be mad, Doctor. Why would I do such a thing?
People have been murdered. I've seen the blood. I don't believe you can be trusted.
Have a little faith, Doctor. If you will follow, I will guide you to the light.
How do you plan to do that?
Take this key of the old sewers. The entrance is by the riverbank, south from here. There you'll find all the proof you need.
Very well. You have definitely intrigued me. I hope you're right, Sean.
I'll be here when you return. If you still think I'm a threat then, well, I surrender myself to your judgment.
does it, boys! You can yes, blood. Murderous bat, demon! Easy does it, boys. You can do He's too fucking fast! God walks with me. See how he looks like an aristocrat. Over there! There's one of them birds! Elite! Kill it! Away with you!